Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempests rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whatever may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait. Her strength unequal to her task, rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God.
Good evening. Let's edify one another today, shall we? I want to start off by saying a happy Father's Day to all of those who are fathers out there. It has been a wonderful day for me. I got time to spend with my Father. I got time to spend with our Heavenly Father. And I got time to spend with my children as a father. So, yes, what a wonderful day. And now I get time to spend with you and hopefully edify you as I try to remember what the song was I was going to cover today. Because there was a thing I was going to cover today, a song I was going to cover today. And it was on the song list from this morning that my brother led. And I forgot to write it down. Wouldn't you know it? So hopefully he'll message me back with it, but, well, he might not. How's your day been going? Good evening, CJ, by the way. Hello, Carol. Good to see you. Might have been that one, but maybe O'Shea knows, but he's might still be might be all moldy by the time it gets to you there, Angie. But it is the delicious cookie, I can tell you that. O'Shea. Hey. Hey, O'Shea. Do you remember Jeremy's song list from this morning? Like, what was the first two songs?
The first two songs. First one was a big one.
It was a big one. Hello, Reba. I mean, I know the one before the lesson was the love of God.
He set that one a little higher. I thought it'd go good.
And then the one was the one that, no, that's the one that was, this here. The love of God is in 6.
Oh.
What?
I think the first one was,
That's the love of God.
What was the Drain Notion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought that was the first one, didn't
Maybe that was the first one.
Pretty sure that was the first one.
There was the one with the victory. Not faith is a victory, but there was one where we had, Amos and I were singing bass.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that was the one right before the lesson, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. We did the love of God, the one that almost would have been a Lord's Supper song. Almost.
See, it's 647, the love of God. That's not the guilty pair one.
Mm.
That's the since the love of God is shed.
Yeah.
That's
We
the
didn't
one.
do that one first.
The other one. The other one. The guilty pair we didn't do.
Hmm?
We didn't do the guilty pair.
We did the one that where every stock unearth a quill.
I didn't remember doing that one.
Yeah. That was like the first one we did.
Yeah. Okay. So we did both loves of God.
Yeah.
Funny.
I remember. Man.
Okay, so the other one, there was another one. What do we do for communion?
Sweet communion.
Ah, that's right. Did we do this one?
Yeah, we did. That was the second one. Pretty sure.
Yeah, it was this one. Yeah, that was the one I was wanting to go over then. All right, so Angie says, I forgot the schedule for CEM. I've been so off track. Well, we get up, we go to work. Tomorrow, I can tell you, we hope to have, well, every evening we typically have an EE except Tuesday nights. Although, CJ, you're doing something on Tuesdays now, aren't you? And Saturday nights. But
No, we don't do anything Tuesday night.
you're not doing anything Tuesdays?
Nope.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were or not. So basically, the two Saturday nights are the only ones that we don't have an EE.
And Tuesdays.
And Tuesdays. I gotta say thank you to. Thank you.
Now I'm not exactly sure why I didn't start that up, but that's how this schedule worked.
I think you didn't want to.
I think I was doing it, and then I don't know what it was. I think it was my voice. I was having trouble with my voice, so I didn't do that.
Yeah, I think you were gonna give your voice a rest. One moment. There we go. Got it. All right. So yeah, this is the one I wanted to go over. So Sunday CEM schedule, we have morning meditations at what is it, 7:30?
Yep, 7:30 Eastern.
7:30 Eastern. Then we basically don't have anything until CJ's reading. No, CJ doesn't even do reading on Sundays anymore. Then CJ has something go on, and about the time I do evening reading.
Yeah.
But that's on his own platform, not on CEM.
Yeah.
Although I think he shares it to CEM.
I stream it to CEM.
Okay. I do reading, and then we have EE in the evening on Sundays. Monday we have, Monday through Saturdays we have our Let's Add to Our Faith devotion. That's at 9 o'clock in the morning. Eastern or Central, so it'll be 10 Eastern. That is if I ever get around to doing it on time. Then there's 3P prayer at what is it, 11:15? Oh, Sam, you got 88 people.
11.
11. Then there's CJ's reading at 12:30.
Yeah, this is all Central Time, so translate it, Angie.
Oh, oops. Yes, sorry. I'm Central.
12 Eastern for 3P, and then 1:30 for my reading Eastern.
Yep. And then yes, here we have the class, study to show ourselves approved class at 6:30 Eastern. Of course, then regular reading, and then EE at 8 o'clock, where we are studying 2 Peter chapter 1 still. That's been going real good. Tuesdays, the only thing different on Tuesday is, of course, we don't have, the study to show ourselves approved is only on Mondays. And there's no EE on Tuesday. Wednesday, there is EE, but no regular reading.
And
as in, let's read the whole Bible, y'all. When I say regular reading, that's what I mean.
And God's answers 2:45 on Wednesdays.
Thank you. And then Thursday,
just the regular bare bones schedule Thursday.
I gotta respond to my brother real quick. Wanted. There we go. Friday, we had Friday again is still normal, except you do another one as well. Don't you? You have Pulpit Times. Pulpit Times is on Fridays. At is that 6:30 again?
6.
6. And then of course Saturday is our 15-minute Devo instead of our hour long, 3 hour long.
Well, now I've been kind of careful to be done by 11:30. So I'll give people 30 minutes between that. Yeah.
And that's kind of the schedule. And no EE on Saturday, so that's kind of the schedule.
Yep.
The song I was going to go over tonight is entitled "My Jesus, as Thou Wilt," and it reads this way: My Jesus, as Thou wilt. Oh, may Thy will be mine. Into my hand, into Thy hand of love, I would my all resign. Through sorrow and through joy, conduct me as Thine own, and help me still to say, Thy will, or my Lord, Thy will be done. Reba, thank you for reminding me. We have noontime nuggets on Saturdays as well at noon instead of, or at noon 15 instead of 3P prayer. 3P prayer goes an hour earlier on no, it goes an hour earlier on Saturdays, doesn't it? Thank you, Reba.
Yeah.
So instead of noon on noon for 3P prayer, it's at 11 Eastern. Verse 2. My Jesus, as thou wilt. If needy here or poor, give me thy people's bread, their portion rich and sure. The manna of thy word, let my soul feed upon, and if all else should fail, my Lord, thy will be done. My Jesus, as thou wilt. Though seen through many a tear, let not my star of hope grow dim or disappear. Since thou on earth hast wept and sorrowed oft alone, if I must weep with thee, my Lord, thy will be done. Good evening, Heather. Good to see you. My Jesus, as thou wilt. All shall be well with me. Each changing future scene, I gladly trust with thee. Straight to my home above, I travel calmly on, and sing in life or in death, my Lord, thy will be done. Thank you, CJ. Been a while. And it sings like this. My Jesus, as thou wilt, oh, may thy will be done, mine. Into thy hand of love I would my all resign. Through sorrow and through joy, conduct me as thine own, and help me still to say, my Lord, thy will be done. My Jesus, as thou wilt, if needy here or poor, give me thy people's bread, their portion rich and sure. The manna of thy word, let my soul feed upon, and if all else should fail, my Lord, thy will be done. My Jesus, as thou wilt, though seen through many a tear, let not my star of hope grow dim or disappear. Since thou on earth hast wept and sorrowed oft alone, if I must weep with thee, my My Jesus, as thou wilt, all shall be well with me. Each changing future scene, I gladly trust with thee. Straight to my home above, I travel calmly on, and sing in life or death, my Lord, thy will be done. Hello, Shea. As we ponder the message of this hymn, the first thing that we come and we see in the words is,
Sarah, who's in the background?
who knows? It's either Alicia or Ezra.
Alicia, can you press the arrow keys so I can listen and view playlist? The slides on StreamYard, so there you go, thank you.
All right. What we see here is first a complete surrender to the will of God, of Jesus. It's inherent in the first words of every line. My Jesus, as thou wilt. When Jesus rose from the dead and he appeared unto his disciples, in Matthew 28, verse 18, I'm just going to go to that verse alone. You notice that Jesus told his disciples, all authority has been given unto me in heaven and in earth. As a disciple of Jesus, we are following him. And our goal is to surrender ourselves unto Jesus. He is Lord and Master, as Peter said in Acts chapter 2. And I wish I had my Bible with me, but it's in the Bible bag and it's out in the other room. Oh no, it's over there. But anyway, in Acts chapter 2, where Peter says, and I believe it's verse, are you on tech or is Alicia? You are? Haha, it's Ezra. You can also, by the way, share the eSword, but come on. Off camera. Acts chapter 2, and I believe it's about verse 35. Nope, verse 36. Peter says to those gathered, he says, therefore let all the house of Israel know assuredly that God hath made that same Jesus whom you crucified both Lord and Christ. Now, the fact that God made him Lord means that he gave him supreme authority. He gave him that authority. And those who acknowledge that authority, those who understand, that means he has the right to tell you what to do. If you wish if you desire anything of Jesus, you have to do one thing first, and that is bow your head, bend your neck, accede to his authority, recognize that as that authority over you. In fact, Jesus, it is said by Paul to the Philippians in Philippians chapter 2, in verse 9, after Jesus was obedient unto death, even the death on the cross, verse 9 says, "Therefore God hath highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name that is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus, every knee," verse 10, please, "every knee should bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of the God the Father." So what we see in the very first part of this song is an submission unto Jesus as Lord. My Jesus, as thou wilt. Oh, may thy will be mine. He doesn't say, may my will be thine. No, he says, may thy will be mine. The position is reversed because the writer, Benjamin Schmolke, recognized Jesus' authority and recognized that Jesus was the way, is the way. And if we don't bow to that authority, if we don't bow to that will, we have no recourse. Into thy hand of love, he says, I would my all resign. Paul says it this way to Timothy in 2 Timothy, I believe it is. I got to go find it. Maybe it's 1 Timothy. I thought it was Timothy. Maybe it's in Titus. All right. Well, I'm going to have to resort to Ezra's getting it for me. Um, now watch. While he's getting that, I'm going to actually find it.
So we have Acts 26:26 and Romans 14:14.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking at?
No, that's not it. Acts 20 what?
26:26.
What's the search term, Levi?
That's not it either. Go for King James, not for ESV.
Romans 15:14. 2 Timothy 1:5. 2 Timothy 1:12.
Okay.
And Romans 14:14. That's what it has here.
Those are the. What was the first Romans one?
Romans 14:14, but you've already looked at that one.
And the other one in Romans?
15:14.
15:14. We took a little bit.
No, that's 18:16.
That's not it either. Okay. We're crying out loud. But I know in whom I have believed and am persuaded.
Oh, 2 Timothy 4:8. Oh, wait.
No, that's not it.
No, wait. Oh.
See, there was one in there's a cross reference in Job where Job says, "I know my Redeemer liveth." But then there's one where Paul says, "I know in whom I have believed, and am persuaded that he can keep that which I have committed unto his charge against that day." Try to search term "to keep that," and it has to be the exact phrase.
It's not getting that. I know the passage.
I know. I'm pretty sure it was in Timothy.
Okay. 2 Timothy 1:12. Sorry.
Yeah, there you are. That's the one. 2 Timothy 1:12. So Paul says, talking about his preacher, his being appointed a preacher, an apostle, a teacher to the Gentiles, he says, "For the which cause I also suffer these things. Nevertheless, I am not ashamed, for I know whom I have believed, and am persuaded that he is able to keep that which I have committed. I am convinced that he is able to guard until that day what has been entrusted to me." I don't like the way the ESV reads on that one. Go to the King James. Nevertheless, I am not ashamed, for I know whom I have believed, and am persuaded that he is able to keep that which I have committed unto him. Come on, come on. Against that day. In other words, what we commit unto God, Jesus is able to commit, or to keep. None can take it away from him. What we entrust into Jesus' care, Jesus will keep. Jesus will take care of. So when the author here says, "Into thy hand of love I would my all resign," he's saying, I want to give into your hand, into your possession, all of me. In fact, just like what Paul says in Galatians chapter 2 and verse 20, "I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life that I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith in the Son of God, which loved me and gave himself for me." I would my all resign. Through sorrow and through joy, conduct me as thine own. Again, with the idea of a total submission unto Christ. The author and we, as we sing this song, are saying it doesn't matter whether I'm going through sorrow, I'm going through pain, or I'm going through joy and happiness and great blessing. A great, wonderful time. Christ, lead me as your own child, as your own sheep. This is an appeal of a sheep to the shepherd. You're looking, Sam puts up Psalm 119, verses 5 through 6, where he doesn't want to be put to shame. He wants to be in the way. He doesn't want to wander from the truth. He uses also verses 13 and 14 in 2 Timothy chapter 1, which I'm not going that far because that's not really keeping with the words. CJ says Philippians 4, 11 through 13. Perhaps. He's got a question there.
No, the question does that fit with this phrasing specifically? What Paul says?
This is where I'm content no matter what I'm going through. I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound everywhere, and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and suffer need. I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. Notwithstanding, you have well done that you did communicate with my affliction. Well, excuse me, I read 14, but really 11 through 13. We can look at that because, in some ways, but this is actually the phrasing here is someone who is willing to go the distance, as it were. regardless of what's going to happen. And when I look at this, I see a picture of, again, um, the the saints in First Peter chapters 2, 3, and 4, where Peter is encouraging them to be faithful even in the midst of trial and tribulation. I see the church, I want to say the Laodiceans, but I'm going to double check that real quick. Smyrna. The church at Smyrna, where Jesus says, I know your works and tribulations and poverty, even though you're rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they're Jews but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. And he tells them to fear none of those things which you shall suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, and that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He's the great shepherd, he says. The first and the last, the dead which is alive. And this is, I know what's in store. Through sorrow, through joy, conduct me as your own. This is a person who says, I know that there's going to be sorrow in my life. I know that there's going to be joy. And I'm willing to go with you through both. I am your sheep. So when we sing it, are we singing, are we his sheep? We need to mean that we are his sheep. Jesus is the great shepherd. He calls his sheep out, as we see in John chapter, I want to say 8. Am I right in that? It's either 8 or 10.
10.
Yep, it's 10. In John chapter 10. I am the door of the sheep. In verse 7, he says, I am the good shepherd, and the good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Verse 11. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. Verse 14. So, verse 27 in John. Now, this is all in John chapter 10. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, and I will give them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. We need to submit ourselves to the will of God as sheep to the shepherd. And at the end of the day, at the end of every day, at the end of every minute, help us to say, Lord, my Lord, thy will be done. Jesus presented the greatest example to us in the Garden of Eden, or not Garden of Eden, Garden of Gethsemane. Sam says the Hosea in Noontime Nuggets said how the grave and the earth are not satisfied. I think the point I'm trying to make is being only Christ can satisfy us when follower not worked. Yes, only Christ can satisfy us. But this isn't about Christ satisfying us, Sam. It's about us following Christ. That's what the whole song's about. And about our submission to Christ. It's about, I mean, and as this last section says, and help me still to say, my Lord, thy will be done. Jesus went to the cross. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane first, and he says, Lord, let he says, Father, if it be your will, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. And at the end of each day, at every turn of the way, we need the help to say, my Lord, thy will be done. Because just as Paul said in Romans chapter 7, or is it 8? 7, that the good that I would, I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. This is verse 19, and my e-sword's not keeping up. Romans chapter 7, verse 19. Now, if I do that, that I would not do. It is no more the I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of God after the inward man, but I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? There's at war within us our flesh versus the spirit. With our spirit, we are desiring to the utmost to please God and to do his will. And yet there is our flesh which says, no, you need to do what feels good, what pleases you. And so at every turn, we beseech the Lord, saying, help me to say, my Lord, thy will be done. When we are pleasing God, we do his will. Our desire is to become like God. That's right, Sam. It's not that easy, though, is it? You and I both know. We've been around the block a few times, right, brother? We know it's not that easy. My Jesus, as thou wilt. Again comes that submission. If needy, hear and poor. If I'm needy and I'm poor, give me thy people's bread, their portion rich and sure. As a child of God, we are the people of God. And as you remember that when the Israelites were needing food in the wilderness, God gave them manna and he gave them meat. CJ puts up Matthew 4 and verse 4. I'll get there. And that's a good one. I think John 6 is going to fit more in with this than Matthew 4 than verse 4. It's not always about feeding our earthly body, though. The people's bread, which is rich and sure, is not about meeting our physical needs. It's about meeting our spiritual needs. As I mentioned in my lesson this morning, for those of you who caught it, Jesus is the bread and water of life. In John chapter 3, we see that Jesus is the water. If any man drink of that water, he shall never die. Water of life. And Jesus has said that I am the bread of life. I wish I could remember which passage that one is. Probably. Look at that. Thank you, CJ. Thank you. I was just going to say, there it is. Jesus says in John chapter 6 and verse 35, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger. He that believeth on me shall never thirst. Well, why is that? Because he's the bread and water of life. He it is that is rich and sure. He is our portion. And if we abide in him, we will never hunger. We will never thirst. If I'm needy and I'm poor, and let's face it, brethren, we are needy, we are poor. We need the sustenance of Jesus. Yes, John 4 with the woman at the well. I said John 3, didn't I? John 4. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. So, give me thy people's bread, their portion rich and sure. If we abide in Jesus, as Jesus says about us being, as he is being the vine in John 14, 15. I'll get it right. If we abide in him, well, that means we're going to be gaining sustenance from him. Verse 5 of John 15, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. Without Jesus as the bread and water of life, we will not be sustained spiritually. Give me thy people's bread, their portion rich and sure. Matthew chapter 5. Blessed, says Jesus, blessed are they which do hunger, verse 6, and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. You want righteousness? Hunger and thirst after it. If you're hungering and thirsting after it, you're seeking it as a man in the desert who is parched. As someone who has gone 30 days without food is looking for sustenance. You're seeking it. You're desiring it. You're needing it. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness. Give me thy poor people's bread, their portion, rich and sure. The manna of thy word, let my soul feed upon. And the word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory as the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and of truth. John 1:14.
And that probably would be the Matthew 4
That
reference.
would probably go really good, yes. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. John 17:17. Jesus is the word. He is the bread of life. He is the water of life. He has the words of life. What's that one there?
John 6:68.
Thank you. Take us there. Sam throws up Matthew 5:3. Yeah. 6 was better. Yes, we are poor in spirit. I got you there. I got you. That actually works really good. We are poor in spirit, aren't we? We are needy. John 6:68. Simon said, Peter says to him, "Who shall we go? To whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life." Jesus has the words. Jesus is the word. He has the words. Yeah.
Well, that's a throwback to our meeting.
And if all else should fail, here comes that submission again. If everything else in life should fail, even though I'm feeding upon the people's bread, their portion rich and sure, the manna of thy word, my soul's feeding upon it. If I don't have a roof over my head, if I don't have physical food on my table, if I don't have clothes on my back, if all else should fail, no matter what, my Lord, thy will be done. And that goes along with what you were saying about I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Verse 3, my Jesus, as thou wilt, though seen through many a tear, let not my star of hope grow dim or disappear. Many are the sorrows of our life. Many times we are grieving. We lose friends. We lose family members. We go through many intense persecutions, whether it be through our jobs, through our acquaintances who we thought were friends, or our families. Though we see through many tears, Jesus is our star of hope. Jesus' promises are sure. We haven't realized our hope yet. Ooh, what's that one? Ezra, take us to Isaiah 53:3. Just as the wise men saw Jesus' star, a star which appeared at the time of Jesus' birth and was in the heavens for roughly 2 years, long enough for them to follow him or follow it to him from afar. Yeah, that could work. He is despised, rejected of men, a man of sorrows and grief. And we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not. That's not really about, this is about our tears and our hope. And not about us hiding our face from Jesus. Hebrews 6:19. Hebrews 6:19. Which hope we have. Let's go back up one verse. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, let's go to the start of the sentence if you can. CJ, where's the hope realized? Paul has that dissertation on that. Hope, if it is realized, is not hope.
Oh,
Romans, I think.
Romans 8, I think.
Find that for me, would you? Okay, so 6 verse 13. For when God made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely blessing I will bless thee, multiplying I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men verily swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife, wherein God, willing more abundantly to show.
What was I looking for? Sorry. Hope against hope.
Hope not realized, or hope realized is not hope. More abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability, that's the unchangeableness of his, or unmovableness of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things, which it is impossible for God to lie, we might have a strong consolation who have fled for refuge, lay hold upon the hope that is hope set before us, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which entereth into the veil, that within the veil, whither the forerunner is for us entered, even Jesus made an high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Romans 8:24. Let's go to verse 22 first. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope. But hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for? But if we hope for what that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. Though seen through many a tear, let not my star of hope grow dim or disappear. Jesus and his promises are our hope. He is our star. The bright and morning star. Oof. Anyway, and there are people who have, in the midst of their pain, turned their back on Jesus because of their pain, because of their grief and sorrow. And Sam throws up Hebrews 11:12, which I think I know what that is. I'm going to go check it out, and I think it does actually apply in here. No. Okay, that wasn't what I was thinking of. I was thinking more of 39, Hebrews 11:39. Anyway, but the composer, the writer here says, though seen through many a tear, don't let me turn my back on you. Don't let my star of hope grow dim or disappear. Don't let me lose hope or lose focus entirely. Since thou on earth hast wept and sorrowed often alone, What do we see with him in the Garden of Gethsemane? Yes, he had his trusty disciples. He had his favorites, if you will, not the favorites, his three that were with him, his inner circle, if you will. But even then, he went a stone throw away from them. And he knelt down and he prayed alone. Oftentimes, he went into the mountains or the wilderness to pray alone. Jesus wept and sorrowed oft alone, seeking God and his comfort, God and his instruction, God and time to be with him. And since he is our prime example, if he can do it and still remain faithful, still focused upon God, if I must weep alone, next verse, if I must weep alone, if I must weep with thee, actually it says, my Lord, thy will be done. You see, one thing is for certain. If we are Christ's and he is ours, we are never weeping alone. We are never walking alone. We are never alone. Isn't that a comforting feeling? He's sitting right here next to us. He's sitting here right next to me, right next to you. And we can look at him and say, your will be done. If I have to weep, let me weep with Jesus. Because he's been there. He knows it. When the Hebrew writer spoke of Jesus and his humanity, he said this in Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 14 through 16. Hebrews 4, 14 through 16. Seeing then we have a great high priest, that is passed into the heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not an high priest that cannot be touched with the infirmities, or the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. If I must weep with thee, with Jesus, my Lord, your will be done. I'm not alone. Yes, there may be those who don't understand and know what we're going through, but Jesus knows. He's been in the flesh. The Lord has been mindful of me, Sam. Good point. Verse 4. My Jesus, as thou wilt, all shall be well with me. I'm going to pause there. After stating their submission to Christ, there is a resolution here. As he's gone through this hymn, he begins again by doing by stating his submission to Jesus as a lamb to the shepherd. He goes and he seeks food, sustenance of a spiritual sort, trusting stating his trust in the shepherd to give him his portion, what he needs. And he also surrenders to the way that the shepherd's going to lead. Now here, he is resolute in his um, life going forward. I don't know how to put this very well. He's resolute in his submission. All shall be well with me. I recognize that you are with me. And so everything's going to be well. Everything is going to be okay. Luke 9:23. Well, Luke 9:23, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. I'm not going to deny that as we continually deny ourselves, that Jesus, we have to continue to deny ourselves so that Jesus can reign in our life and lead in our life. This resolution is a recognition of the idea or the fact that no matter what I go through, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord. And this is really the idea behind this particular passage. Which, what is that? That's another Romans one, isn't it? Romans 10? Romans 8:28, thank you. Romans 8:28, please. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. All shall be well with me. Each changing future scene, I gladly trust with thee. Matthew chapter 6. There's several within this particular passage, or a cross-reference within this passage. But Matthew chapter 6 and verse 34. Let's do 25 first, then we'll go hit 24 and then hit 34. '25, please. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, or what you shall drink, nor for your body what you shall put on. Is not life more than the meat, and the body more than raiment? 34, please. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Ow. Philippians 4 and verse 6. I think I already hit that one, Sam. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with your thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto God. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known to God. And I mean the idea of Jesus, listening to Jesus' voice. Guys, each changing future scene, I gladly trust to thee, with thee. Everything's going to be all right. Because then there again, we go back to the idea of 2 Timothy 1:12, where I know whom I have believed in, and am persuaded that he is able to keep that which I have committed unto his hand against that day. Since I'm trusting the future scenes, every bit of the future, to Jesus, I can be anxious in nothing. I don't have to be anxious about it. Jesus will take care of it. And there is a calmness and a peace that comes over us when we let him lead. When we leave off the care, the anxiety about tomorrow, and let him handle it. Straight to my home above, I travel calmly on, taking no thought for tomorrow, for those future scenes. We let God handle it, as we pointed to in Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 34. As we focus upon Christ and Christ alone, because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. No man cometh unto the Father but through him. John chapter 14, verse 6. Jesus is that way. And when we focus upon him, letting him lead, we can travel calmly on. As we were looking at Philippians chapter 4, go back there to Philippians 4, verse 7, please. Verse 6 says, be careful, be anxious in nothing, but by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Look at verse 7. And, this joins the two verses together, and the peace of God, the calmness of God, which passes all understanding. You see, people won't understand how it is you can be so calm in the midst of all the chaos, all of the strife, all of the upheaval that goes on around you. But it's because we are not anxious about tomorrow. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know who holds tomorrow. Remember that cliche? That saying? The peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts, guarding your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. I travel calmly on and sing in life or in death, my Lord, thy will be done. Whether I live for Christ. Whether I die for Christ. Paul said that in
Philippians 1:23.
Thank you. Philippians 1:23.
If you have a Philippians passage, I got it. It's fresh in my mind.
It says in Philippians 1:23. Hint, hint. For I am in a strait betwixt two, having a desire to depart and be with Christ, which is far better. Nevertheless, to abide with you in the flesh is more needful for you, and having this confidence, I know that I shall abide and continue with you all for your furtherance and joy of the faith, that your rejoicing may be more abundant in Jesus Christ for me by my coming to you again.
Sorry, I think it's right before that.
Yes, it's verse 21.
Sorry.
That's all right. Let's go to verse 19 first. Having talked about how some people preach Christ out of contention, trying to make him envious and trying to one up him, and others preach Christ out of love and sincerity, he says, I know, verse 19, that this shall turn to my salvation through your prayer and the supply of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, according to my earnest expectation and my hope that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness as always, so now also Christ shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or by death. For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. For if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor, yet what shall I choose, I know not. For me to live is Christ, to die is gain. Because we're gonna gain Christ. In all of this psalm, one thing stands out stark in my mind, other than the submission to Christ as Lord. And it is this. There is a direct correlation between this psalm, or this hymn, and Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. How does that go? You all know it. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. There's a correlation between this song and that psalm. And as you look through these or sing these words, You can see it. Jesus is our shepherd. He is our Lord, and only Him has the authority. We need to bow our heads to that authority. Hey, John. So let's sing it again, shall we? Let's sing it again, Sam. My Jesus, as thou wilt, oh, may thy will be mine. Into thy hand of love I would my all resign. Through sorrow and through joy, conduct me as thy own, and help me still to say, my Lord, thy will be done. My Jesus, as thou wilt, if needy here and poor, give me thy people's bread, their portion rich and sure. The manna of thy word, let my soul feed upon, and if all else should fail, my Lord, thy will be done. My Jesus, as thou wilt, though seen through many a tear, let not my star of hope grow dim or disappear. Since thou on earth hast wept and sorrowed oft alone, if I must weep with thee, my Lord, thy will be done. My Jesus, as thou wilt, all shall be well with me. Each changing future scene, I gladly trust with thee. Straight to my home above, I travel calmly on, passing in life or death, my Lord, thy will be done. Indeed, hopefully, we have edified you to the point where you are stronger and more resolute in your own effort to let God's and Jesus's will be done in your life. That is our goal here at CEM. That way, whether we wake tomorrow to serve God here on this earth, or we wake tomorrow to serve Him up there where we all long to be, you know where we'll have the pleasure, privilege, and honor of being. For we'll see you then. God bless in your walk with Him. I love you all, and good night.